Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, presented by Stakes. We continue our previews of Week 3 college football games involving the Southeastern Conference. Today we get to Vanderbilt at Northern Illinois. NIU is about a 1.5-point favorite over under, I think, 61.5 on that. It's fluctuated a little bit since it came out. I think both the spread and the total there. But both teams coming off disappointing performances. Northern Illinois lost to Tulsa. Vanderbilt lost 45-20 to Wake Forest. Who gets it right in the bounce-back game here, Blake?
Don't ask me. I want no part of this game. This is one of those games. Like again, we always say we're not professional bettors. We're just guys who like previewing and picking games and covering the SEC. But I don't know how anyone could have a strong opinion one way or the other on this particular game because we've talked about kind of the mixed bag we've seen with Vanderbilt. We said Hawaii is, not a great team, and that week one game, because of how big of a difference that score was, I think it set some expectations that we just knew that they were going to come back down to reality. I think against a team like Wake Forest, and that's what happened. Which, as we said, Sam Hartman coming back played a big role in that. But I think you saw some of the issues with Vanderbilt's offense that we had mentioned before that. The defense is not anywhere near where they need to be yet. Certainly heading into SEC competition. And so I think this is one of those games we circled to start the season and said this is one Vanderbilt has to win if you're going to have any semblance of a successful season and what you consider a successful season, not making a bowl, not, winning multiple SEC games. I think these are the kind of games you have to win, I think, to get your program where you want to go. And I think it's pretty clear in this game. Passing the ball down the field, is that going to be something that Vanderbilt can do, depending on how this game plays out, if they have to do it? Because right now, I think that's a big question mark. And I think it's the defense. It's can they continue to get better on the defensive side? Because, you kind of look at this game here and Northern Illinois put up some points, right? I mean, they've at least put up some points at this point. So all those storylines to me just equal a mixed bag here of knowing what to expect from this game. And that's why, like I said, I would want no part of this in terms of laying down big money on this particular game.
Yeah, Mike Wright was just awful last week for Vanderbilt. And he'd been tremendous the two games before that. Wright had set the school record for touchdowns accounted for. Last week against Elon was really good in 3/4 of action at Hawaii, but the downfield ball is not his forte. Threw a bad pick six and then compounded that with 2 lost fumbles. Last week, he got benched. A.J. Swan came in, took his spot. Mike Wright's a team captain. I think he'll be motivated for this. One other thing with Vandy last week, Blake, I think the offensive line has been better. 3 games in, better than I would have thought. But they are really thin at running back. Ray Davis is having to get almost all the carries. That's not good for a back that's been injury prone. I think Rocco Griffin, who's been their most productive back, should be back this week. He was questionable last week at practice. So I think that return, if he does return, is a big springboard because it gives Vandy, A, another good back, and B, gives Davis some rest, which they really need. I like Vandy to put up points in this game. Now, I think Vanderbilt's going to have real problems later against SEC teams. But this is a game where Mike Wright's a 10,800-meter guy. He had an 87-yard touchdown the first week. I think Vandy's going to generate some points in this one. And I think that I still think Vandy's got quarterback troubles, but this is not Power 5 athleticism, I don't think that Vanderbilt's up against in this one, and that might be a big difference.
No, I'm with you. I think there will be points put up in this game because, like we said, if you look at, and I know it's different, it's hard to compare, but like really both teams, both Vanderbilt and Northern Illinois, they've played in some high-scoring games at this point. So I think if you're looking at how this one could play out, I think certainly you expect points in this one. But like you mentioned, I like Vanderbilt will be able to do some things on the ground here just because of what Mike Wright brings to the table, like you said, and I think they've they've been creative in that sense, I think, in terms of being able to figure some things out and how they can keep the running attack going. But that's where like a game like this to me is, let's say Northern Illinois comes out and scores 2 touchdowns early on. All of a sudden you're playing from behind. Um, the passing game, can it get you to that level? And I think that's what you want to see here in these kind of games. Because I'm with you. I would expect there to be a lot of points put up on the board here, given what we've seen from these two teams thus far. And look, I mean, Northern Illinois' offense too is something that you kind of look at. I mean, the all-time great quarterback name, Chris, Rocky Lombardi. I mean, that's just like
Oh,
that's a football name right there.
that's 2 trophies in one name.
So, I think, yeah, and look, he's a guy with experience. And I think that's something certainly you look at too in this scenario. I think he's, put up some good numbers thus far. So I do like I think that points. There's not a lot for me to figure out on how this game's going to play out. From a, that's why the spread is what 1.5. But I think points are your best opportunity here, just kind of knowing what you've
Yeah.
seen from these two teams. So,
Yeah, Vanderbilt's defense has been really leaky the last
oh
6
yeah,
quarters. It's just
yeah,
been awful. I think there's more talent there than is shown, but you only can go by what you've seen. And I'm not saying Vandy's going to have a great defense, but I think it's capable of playing better. But I think the last 6 quarters, they just have sprung so many leaks in the secondary, given up some big pass plays. They're still not healthy on the defensive line. They're really thin there. I'm with you. I think there's going to be some points scored in this one. Before we continue that discussion, shout out to our sponsor, Stakes. You can bet sports, build your track record, and earn digital trophies. Get your predictions on the record. You can predict anything in the game for free. See how you measure up against fans and influencers. You can flex your wins by broadcasting your takes to our entire community of sports fans with just a few taps on your phone. You can earn credibility. You can build your public perceptions or predictions track record by winning competitions, earning NFT trophies for making the perfect call. Go to playwithstakes.com/14. Sign up using invite code Southeastern14 for a double welcome bonus. Blake, I'm with you. I think points might be a play in this game, given the way both teams have played and been suspect on defense. You've seen Vanderbilt put up 63 and 42 in its first 2 games. I don't know that Northern Illinois' defense is a significant upgrade. Well, probably from Hawaii it would be, but point
yes.
is, I think with Vanderbilt's got a little bit of athleticism and has showed it can score points. The implied final on that, what, the 32-32 or 32-30 Northern Illinois? I like Vandy to score more than 30, and frankly, I like Vandy to win outright.
Hmm. I think you're right on that. But like I said, my confidence level is not as high as I thought it would be maybe at this point, just
Yeah.
given what we've seen from the Vandy defense and just some of the inconsistencies with the offense, and that's probably putting it lightly. But I do think this is a field goal type game either way, is my expectation. But I also think, like I said, I think this is a big play game, meaning that some big plays one way or the other are going to completely swing the momentum because of I think the issues perhaps with Vanderbilt's defense and giving up the big plays. But I also think Mike Wright can make some big plays with his feet, which we've seen before. With the running attack. So I I think this is one of those games where you look back at the box score maybe and it's like, oh, look at all the like long plays. Like what was the longest yardage? I'm like, there's a lot of those that are hitting, 25 plus maybe in a game like this. I will go Vanderbilt to win. Like I said, I think this is a field goal game. I think points are the best recipe for success here if you're betting on this one. Um, but I'm going to be flat out on. I don't have confidence one way or the other in how this game plays out. So
Okay, I'm going to give you a personal anecdote. I went to a game at Northern Illinois last year to watch my nephew play at Wyoming, which had an awful offense. Wyoming won that game 50-43. The atmosphere is not intimidating. They seat 24,000. That building was maybe half full. Maybe for an SEC team, you get a bigger crowd, but what you just said combined with what I saw, that's just not going to be a place where, it's so loud you can't get plays off. I just think there's some things that maybe point to Vanderbilt here.
There you go. I think they win, but I'm not confident about it.
Yeah, and I don't judge you for that either because it's Vandy. This is still a team that's lost 21 straight in the conference and had major quarterback issues a year ago. But I just think with this matchup, I don't think Northern Illinois got the athletes on defense that are probably going to give Vandy trouble and did a little bit last week too. Mike Wright can't really play worse. I'm not real bullish on his chances going forward, but I do think that you look at certain games, you say, look at the personnel. You've seen him have some big games at times, and this is just one that to me suggests it's another opportunity here for him.
Yep, we will see how it unfolds, but check the weather as always. Looks
Yeah.
sunny right now, but that always plays into these kind of games too. So I think that actually would benefit Vanderbilt if it's because again, you may not have to pass the ball a lot in those kind of scenarios. So we'll see though. I'll take Vanderbilt by a field goal. Not confident.
Well, check our picks. We're picking every SEC game or have picked every SEC game. Best way to do that, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching Southeastern 14 presented by Stakes. We'll see you again soon.